Make yourself comfortable, close your eyes, and let yourself be carried away by a story from the Middle Ages. Welcome to our channel. Tonight, we travel back in time. You push the heavy wooden door closed behind you, and the howling wind becomes muffled, distant, like a memory of sound rather than sound itself. The iron hinges creak with a low, prolonged groan that echoes through the stone chamber, and you feel the weight of the door settle into its frame with a dull thud that travels up through your boots and into your tired legs. The sanctuary is dim, lit only by the amber glow of a fire that crackles in the wide hearth across the room, and the blue-gray fog of the storm presses against the narrow windows, turning the world outside into something formless and far away. Your fingers are numb from the cold, and you peel off your wool gloves slowly, one finger at a time, feeling the stiffness in your joints as warmth begins to return to your skin. The air inside smells of burning oak and old stone, a scent that is earthy and clean, with the faint undertone of dried herbs hanging from the rafters overhead. You can hear the fire popping softly, each small burst of sound followed by the gentle settling of logs as they shift and crumble into glowing embers. The world outside continues its endless howling, but here, within these thick walls, you are safe and warm. You move toward the hearth with slow, deliberate steps, your boots leaving faint prints on the dusty flagstones. The floor is uneven, worn smooth by centuries of footsteps, and you feel each subtle dip and rise beneath your feet. The firelight dances across the rough-hewn walls, casting long shadows that sway and flicker in a rhythm that matches the breathing of the flames. You lower yourself onto a wooden bench near the fire, feeling the solid weight of the oak beneath you, and you extend your hands toward the warmth, palms open, fingers spread wide. The heat touches your skin gradually, a gentle pressure that seeps into your cold flesh and spreads up through your wrists and forearms. You can feel the blood returning to your fingertips, a faint tingling sensation that is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, simply present. The fire continues its quiet work, consuming the logs with patient hunger, and you watch the flames curl around the blackened wood, blue at the base, orange in the middle, yellow at the tips. Safe and warm. The world is quiet. On the table beside you rests a loaf of bread, round and golden brown, its crust dusted with flour that catches the firelight like fine snow. You reach for it slowly, your movements unhurried, and your fingers press against the surface, feeling the firm resistance of the crust and the slight give of the soft interior beneath. You tear a piece away, and the sound is gentle, a soft tearing that mingles with the crackling of the fire. The bread is still faintly warm, and you can smell the yeast and wheat, earthy and comforting, as you bring it to your mouth. You chew slowly, mechanically, feeling the texture change as the bread softens against your tongue. The taste is simple, plain, the flavor of grain and salt and thyme. You swallow, and you tear another piece, and another, each bite identical to the last, each movement part of a rhythm that requires no thought. The storm outside continues to rage, but the sound is so constant, so unchanging, that it becomes a kind of silence, a backdrop against which the small sounds of the sanctuary, the fire, your breathing, the creak of the bench stand out with perfect clarity. When the bread is gone, you rise and move to the window, a narrow opening in the stone wall, its glass thick and uneven, filled with tiny bubbles and imperfections. You place your palm against the cold surface, feeling the chill radiate through the glass and into your skin. Beyond, the blue fog swirls and shifts, formless shapes that appear and dissolve without meaning or purpose. You can see nothing of the landscape. No trees, no hills, no path, only the endless gray-blue of the storm. The world outside has ceased to exist. There is only this room, this fire, this moment. You return to the hearth and lower yourself onto the stone floor, sitting with your back against the wall, feeling the rough texture of the stone through your tunic. The warmth from the fire washes over you in waves, and you close your eyes for a moment, listening to the wind as it howls around the corners of the sanctuary. A sound so steady it becomes almost musical, a low drone that never changes pitch or intensity. Safe and warm. The world is quiet. You notice a basket of wool beside the hearth, undyed and natural, still carrying the faint scent of lanolin and grass. You reach for a handful, your fingers sinking into the soft fibers, and you begin to card it slowly, pulling the wool apart with gentle, repetitive motions. The fibers separate under your touch, becoming lighter, fluffier, and you work without purpose or goal, simply performing the task because it is there to be done. The wool slides through your fingers again and again, each pass smoothing and aligning the fibers, and the motion becomes a meditation, a rhythm that matches your breathing and the crackling of the fire. The hours pass, though you do not count them. The fire burns lower, and you add another log, watching as the flames lick tentatively at the new wood before embracing it fully. The storm outside shows no sign of ending, but you do not worry. You are here, within these walls of stone, and nothing can reach you. The world is quiet. You are safe and warm. A faint, sweet scent of applewood joins the peat smoke, curling into the air. Your gaze drifts from the fire to the heavy woolen curtain drawn across the window. With each gust of wind, it billows gently inward like a slow, deep breath, then settles. Beneath the storm's melody, you hear the constant, soothing drip of rainwater from the eaves into the barrel below, a timeless rhythm marking the passage of the night. Your chair, worn smooth by generations, holds you in a perfect embrace, its sturdy frame creaking softly as you shift. On the hearthstone, the old house cat stretches, her paws needing the warmth before she sighs and settles back into dreams. You feel the quiet of the slumbering village around you, each home a haven of banked coals and soft breathing, all connected under the mantle of the rain. The night is a wide, deep well of peace, and you rest at its very center. You stand in the sanctuary, the storm raging outside a distant, muffled growl, as you gaze upon the satchel resting upon the stone table before you. The air is thick with the scent of damp stone and burning wood, the fire in the hearth crackling softly, casting long, dancing shadows on the ancient walls. You feel the warmth seep into your bones, safe and warm. The world is quiet. The satchel is worn, the leather cracked and faded, the stitching neat and even, a testament to the careful hands that fashioned it. You run your fingers over the surface, feeling the rough texture, the grooves, the smooth patches worn by time and use. The satchel is empty, waiting. The world is quiet. You turn your attention to the task at hand, the ritual of the satchel. You have gathered your tools, the needles and thread, the scraps of leather, the tools of your trade. You sit at the table, the firelight flickering, the warmth enveloping you, safe and warm. The world is quiet. You begin to work, the rhythm steady, the movements practiced and familiar. You thread the needle, the silk smooth and strong, the color a deep, rich brown, the hue of the earth. The world is quiet. You take a scrap of leather, the texture rough and supple, the edges frayed, the color a muted tan, the shade of old parchment. You begin to stitch, the needle piercing the leather, the thread weaving in and out, the pattern emerging slowly, methodically. The stitches are small and even, the lines straight and true. The world is quiet. You feel the leather yield beneath the needle, the fibers parting, the thread binding them together, the satchel taking shape, safe and warm. The fire crackles, the flames dancing and flickering, casting shadows on the walls. The world is quiet. The wind howls outside, the blizzard raging, the snow swirling, the ice forming. The world is quiet. You are safe here, in the sanctuary, the storm raging outside. The world is quiet. You work on, the rhythm steady, the movements practiced and familiar. The satchel grows, the shape emerging, the form taking hold. You add pieces, the scraps of leather, the strands of thread, the tools of your trade. You stitch and sew, the needle piercing, the thread weaving, the satchel taking shape, safe and warm. The fire burns low, the flames flickering, the embers glowing. The world is quiet. You add more wood, the logs crackling, the flames leaping, the warmth enveloping you, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling. The world is quiet. You continue to work, the rhythm steady, the movements practiced and familiar. The satchel is nearly complete, the shape clear, the form defined. You add the final pieces, the scraps of leather, the strands of thread, the tools of your trade. You stitch and sew, the needle piercing, the thread weaving, the satchel taking shape, safe and warm. The fire burns bright, the flames dancing, the embers glowing, the world is quiet. You feel the warmth, the heat, the comfort, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You finish the satchel, the shape complete, the form defined. You hold it up, the firelight catching the edges, the stitching, the color. It is a thing of beauty, a testament to your skill, your patience, your craft. The world is quiet. You set the satchel down, the table cool beneath your hands, the firelight flickering, the world is quiet. You feel the warmth, the comfort, the peace, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You sit back, the chair creaking softly, the firelight dancing, the world is quiet. You feel the warmth, the comfort, the peace, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You close your eyes, the firelight flickering behind your lids, the world is quiet. You feel the warmth, the comfort, the peace, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You breathe deeply, the air thick with the scent of damp stone and burning wood. The world is quiet. You feel the warmth, the comfort, the peace, safe and warm. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You drift off, the firelight flickering, the world is quiet. The storm rages on, the wind howling, the snow swirling, the world is quiet. You are safe, warm, at peace, the world is quiet. The embers settle into a deep, pulsing crimson, casting long shadows across the timbered ceiling. Your heavy wool blankets, woven with patterns of ancient forests, press down with a comforting weight. Beneath you, the straw-filled mattress rustles softly with each slow breath, a whisper of summer meadows preserved through winter's hold. The linen sheet against your skin has been warmed by your body's gentle heat, smooth as river stones worn by countless patient years. Beyond the frosted window, you hear the muffled hoot of an owl in the distant woods, a solitary guardian of the sleeping land. The sound comes once, twice, then fades into the crystalline silence. Somewhere in the village, a shutter creaks against its iron hinge, settling into stillness once more. The stone walls surrounding you hold the day's warmth like a promise kept. These same stones have sheltered generations before you, absorbing centuries of peaceful nights, of storms weathered, of seasons turning in their endless, reliable dance. You can almost feel their memory, their steadfast presence, solid and eternal. Your fingers rest loosely on the blanket's edge, tracing without thought the raised texture of wool. The weight across your chest rises and falls, a rhythm as old as breath itself. Your eyelids grow heavier still, though they were already nearly closed. The fire's glow dims further, embers breathing their last crimson sighs. Darkness gathers in the room's corners like a soft cloak, gentle and welcoming. Outside, the snow continues its silent descent, each flake adding to the great quietness, the great peace that blankets the sleeping world. Your thoughts drift like those snowflakes slow, meandering, dissolving into the warmth. Sleep reaches for you with tender hands, and you do not resist. The fire settles with a soft sigh. A distant owl calls once, a gentle question answered only by the deep, dreaming silence. You are held safe, and the night keeps watch. You stand in the dimly lit sanctuary, the heavy stone walls sheltering you from the tempest that rages beyond. The air is thick with the scent of old stone and burning wood, the heat from the hearth-bowl in the center of the room caressing your skin, making you feel safe and warm. The wind howls mournfully outside, but here, the world is quiet, save for the gentle crackling of the fire and the soft pop of wood as it yields to the flames. You approach the rough-hewn table near the hearth, the surface worn smooth by years of use. Upon it, a bowl of dough rests, covered with a linen cloth, the scent of rising bread mingling with the smoky aroma of the fire. You lift the cloth, the fabric soft and cool against your hands, and peer at the dough beneath. It has doubled in size, the surface dimpled with tiny bubbles, a testament to the slow, steady work of the yeast. You press your fingers into the dough, the soft give beneath your touch oddly satisfying, and you begin to knead, the rhythm slow and steady, the dough yielding to your hands, the world outside forgotten. The fire casts flickering shadows on the walls, the dance of light and dark mesmerizing, hypnotic. You lose yourself in the rhythm of your hands, the scent of the rising bread filling your nose, the heat of the fire warming your back. The storm rages on outside, but here, you are safe and warm, the sanctuary a haven from the chaos beyond. You shape the dough into a round loaf, the surface smooth and even beneath your hands. You place it on a wooden paddle, the wood worn smooth by years of use, and slide it into the hearth bowl. The heat is intense, the fire licking at the underside of the loaf, but you know from experience that the bread will be perfect, the crust golden and crisp, the interior soft and tender. You turn your attention to the wool that sits in a basket near the fire. The fibers are soft and fluffy, the scent of the sheep still clinging to them. You take a handful, the wool slippery and cool against your skin, and begin to spin, the rhythm slow and steady, the wool twisting into a thin, even thread. The firelight catches the wool, the fibers glowing a soft, warm orange, the color of autumn leaves. The storm outside intensifies, the wind howling like a chorus of the damned. But here, in the sanctuary, the world is quiet. The only sounds the soft pop of the fire and the gentle whir of your spinning wheel. You lose yourself in the rhythm, the wool twisting beneath your hands, the firelight dancing on the walls, the scent of the rising bread filling the air. You glance at the bread in the hearth-bowl, the crust a perfect golden brown. You use the paddle to remove it from the fire, the heat intense, the bread steaming, the scent of freshly baked bread filling the air. You place the loaf on the table, the surface hot and smooth beneath your hands, and let it cool, the steam rising in lazy curls. You turn your attention back to the wool, the spinning wheel humming softly, the wool twisting beneath your hands. The firelight flickers on the walls, the shadows dancing, the world outside forgotten. The storm rages on, but here in the sanctuary you are safe and warm, the world quiet, the rhythm of your hands steady and sure. The bread cools, the crust crisp and golden, the interior soft and tender. You slice into it, the bread yielding to your knife, the scent of fresh bread filling the air. You take a bite, the bread warm and soft, the flavor rich and comforting. The storm outside howls, but here, in the sanctuary, the world is quiet. The only sounds the soft crackling of the fire and the gentle hum of your spinning wheel. You eat slowly, the bread warm and comforting, the world outside forgotten. The firelight flickers on the walls, the shadows dancing, the rhythm of your hands steady and sure. The storm rages on, but here in the sanctuary, you are safe and warm, the world quiet, the rhythm of your hands a testament to the slow, steady passage of time. As the final stroke of the quill finds its place, you set the instrument aside upon a rest of polished cherry wood. The ink, a deep and lustrous midnight blue, catches the light like captured starlight, each letter a small constellation upon the cream-colored vellum. Your fingertips bear the faintest traces of pigment, tiny shadows that speak of your careful labor. You flex your hands gently, feeling the pleasant ache of concentration release into the warmth of the chamber. The manuscript before you breathes with completion, its margins adorned with delicate flourishes that curl like unfurling fern fronds in spring forests. You allow your gaze to rest upon the work, not with critical examination, but with the quiet satisfaction of a task honored through patience. The pages will rest now, as must you, the ink needing time to set fully into the fibers, becoming permanent and true. Rising from your seat, you move with unhurried grace toward the narrow window. Beyond the thick glass, darkness has deepened into that profound stillness that belongs to the hours between midnight and dawn. A few scattered stars pierce the velvet sky, their light traveling incomprehensible distances to reach this moment, this place, your watchful eyes. The moon has continued its arc, now settling toward the western horizon, painting the world in graduating shades of silver and shadow. You rest your forehead briefly against the cool stone wall beside the window, feeling the ancient solidity of the monastery, The countless hands that shaped these stones, the generations of peaceful souls who have walked these corridors. The building itself seems to breathe around you, timbers settling with soft whispers, stones holding their eternal vigil. Returning to the table, you carefully blot the final page with fine sand, watching the tiny granules absorb any excess moisture. The gentle sound is like distant rain on summer leaves. You tip the parchment, allowing the sand to cascade into a small brass dish, each grain catching light as it falls, a miniature waterfall of gold and amber. The clean scent of vellum and oak gall ink hangs softly in the air. A single beeswax candle flickers, its warm glow dancing across the finished manuscript, a silent guardian of the quiet night. You find yourself nestled within the ancient stone sanctuary, the world outside obscured by a dance of swirling blue fog. The storm rages on, but here, you are safe and warm. The wind howls a melancholic lullaby, a steady rhythm that harmonizes with the crackling dance of the firelight. The scent of burning oak and damp stone fills the air, a comforting blend that anchors you to the present moment. The fire casts flickering shadows through the leaded glass, painting the walls with a warm, orange glow that contrasts with the cool blue of the storm outside. You sit at a weathered wooden table, the grain worn smooth by centuries of use. Before you, a loaf of bread is rising, its doughy surface blanketed in a soft cloth. You can see the slow, steady pulse of its growth, the yeast working its magic. The table is cold beneath your fingers, a stark contrast to the warmth of the fire. You trace the grain of the wood, feeling the history etched into its surface. The world is quiet, save for the storm and the fire. You can hear the soft pop and crackle of the flames, the occasional gust of wind that rattles the old glass. The scent of the bread begins to mingle with the smoke, a promise of the meal to come. You feel the rhythm of the sanctuary, the slow, steady beat of life continuing despite the storm. You stand, the wooden chair scraping softly against the stone floor. You walk to the hearth, the warmth seeping into your bones. The fire is a dance of orange and yellow, the flames licking at the wood. You add another log, the smell of fresh sap filling the air. The fire sputters for a moment, then settles into its rhythm once more. You turn your attention to the spinning wheel in the corner. A pile of raw wool waits patiently, its fibers coarse and unyielding. You sit, the wooden stool creaking softly beneath you. You take a handful of wool, the fibers rough against your skin. You begin to spin, the rhythm steady and soothing. The wool softens under your touch, the fibers twisting together to form a thread. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the spinning wheel and the occasional pop of the fire. The thread grows longer, a testament to your patience. You can see the individual fibers, the way they twist and intertwine. You feel the roughness of the wool, the way it softens with each turn of the wheel. The scent of the fire fills the air, a warm, comforting presence. The storm outside rages on, but here, you are safe and warm. You look out the leaded glass, the storm a blur of blue and white. The wind howls, a steady rhythm that harmonizes with the crackling dance of the firelight. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft hum of the spinning wheel and the occasional pop of the fire. You feel the rhythm of the sanctuary, the slow, steady beat of life continuing despite the storm. You stand, the wooden stool creaking softly beneath you. You walk to the table, the scent of the bread filling the air. You lift the cloth, the dough soft and yielding beneath your fingers. You knead the bread, the dough warm and supple. You feel the rhythm of the bread, the slow, steady pulse of its growth. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft knead of the bread and the occasional pop of the fire. You place the bread on the hearth, the heat seeping into the dough. You can see the slow, steady rise of the bread, the crust beginning to form. The scent of the bread fills the air, a warm, comforting presence. The storm outside rages on, but here, you are safe and warm. The fire casts flickering shadows through the leaded glass, painting the walls with a warm, orange glow that contrasts with the cool blue of the storm outside. You sit by the fire, the heat seeping into your bones. You can hear the soft pop and crackle of the flames, the occasional gust of wind that rattles the old glass. The scent of the fire fills the air, a warm, comforting presence. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft crackle of the fire and the occasional gust of wind. You feel the rhythm of the sanctuary, the slow, steady beat of life continuing despite the storm. You look out the leaded glass, the storm a blur of blue and white. The wind howls, a steady rhythm that harmonizes with the crackling dance of the firelight. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft crackle of the fire and the occasional gust of wind. You feel the rhythm of the sanctuary, the slow, steady beat of life continuing despite the storm. You are safe and warm, the world outside a distant memory. The storm rages on, but here, in this ancient stone sanctuary, you are at peace. The fire casts flickering shadows through the leaded glass, painting the walls with a warm, orange glow that contrasts with the cool blue of the storm outside. The world is quiet, the only sound the soft crackle of the fire and the occasional gust of wind. You are safe and warm, the rhythm of the sanctuary a steady, comforting beat. The storm rages on, but here, in this ancient stone sanctuary, you are at peace. Beside your bed, A small wooden table holds a ceramic pitcher of water and a sprig of rosemary, its earthy fragrance mingling with the faint aroma of aged parchment. The flickering hearth casts long, dancing shadows across the vaulted ceiling, where centuries-old timbers crisscross in sturdy patterns. Your woolen blankets have warmed to body temperature now, creating a perfect cocoon of comfort against the cool night air. Through the narrow window, you glimpse the monastery's bell tower silhouetted against the stormy sky, standing sentinel through countless seasons. The rain intensifies briefly, then softens to a gentler pattern, like nature finding its own restful rhythm. Your breathing deepens, matching the slow, measured pace of the evening. The mattress beneath you, stuffed with fresh straw and lavender, cradles your body perfectly. Each muscle releases its tension, melting into the simple bed. In the distance, the last bell of Compline echoes faintly through the corridors, a final blessing before the great silence descends upon the monastery. Your eyelids grow heavy as the peaceful sanctuary embraces you completely. You are aware, first, of the weight. It is a deep and even pressure across your shoulders, down the length of your legs, a settled heaviness that seems to pull you gently into the very stone of the cot beneath you. This is the Fur Quilt, stitched from the pelts of sheep that grazed these high meadows in a gentler season, each pelt cured and combed until it was soft as clouded breath. You do not open your eyes. There is no need. The world announces itself through other means. The scent of cold stone, ancient and damp, is layered over by the dry, sweet perfume of cedar logs burning in the hearth. The air tastes of wood smoke and wool, and a faint, clean hint of the snow that has, for many hours now, been falling beyond the sanctuary as the sound is a tapestry. Outside, the blizzard is a constant, rolling exhalation. It is not a howl, but a low, pervasive roar, a wall of white noise that presses against the shutters. It is the sound of the world being smoothed over, buried, made simple. Inside, the fire answers with its own language. A log settles with a soft, crumbling sound, a cascade of tiny orange embers tumbling into the bed of ash below. The sap within a fresh piece of cedar hisses, a long, drawn-out note that fades into the crackle of drying bark. These sounds are not separate. They blend, the wind as roar and the fire as whisper, into a single, continuous breath that fills the small, square room. You are safe and warm. The world is quiet beneath the blanket of the storm. You let your hand drift from beneath the quilt's heavy edge. The air of the room is cool, but not unkind. Your fingertips find the worn linen of the sheet, tracing the raised lines of its simple weave. You count the threads, not with purpose, but with a slow, meandering attention. One ridge, too, A slight pull in the fiber, 3-4. The linen is smooth in one direction, slightly rough in the other. A faint scent of live soap and sunlight still clinging to its fibers from its last washing. You turn your palm flat against it, feeling the coolness seep into your skin, a pleasant contrast to the quilt-esque encompassing warmth. After a time, you open your eyes. The room is a study in opposites. The firelight is a living thing, painting the near walls in pulses of warm orange and gold. It dances over the uneven surfaces of the stone, highlighting pits and ridges, making shadows that breathe and sway. The wooden table, the single stool, the stack of split logs by the hearth-all are gilded in this trembling light. But beyond the fire's reach, the room recedes into a blue fog, a gloom that is not darkness but a deep, soft twilight. The far wall, where the small, shuttered window is set, is merely a suggestion of stone, a darker patch in the blue. The storm light, filtered through clouds and snow, seeps in through the cracks in the shutter, a dim, cold cobalt that does not fight the fire-esque glow but cedes to it. The world is blue fog and orange ember, and you lie in the gentle scene between them. Your gaze rests upon the hearth. There is a task, but it is a task without urgency. A loaf of black bread rests on a flat stone near the heat, but not too near. It is proving. You watch it. In the flickering light, you can just perceive the slow, almost imperceptible expansion of its crust. A single crack in the loaf-esque surface seems to widen by a hair-esque breadth, a minute movement that takes long minutes to observe. The yeast within is performing its silent, slow magic, filling the dough with tiny pockets of air that smell of earth and grain and patience. You can smell it now, that deep, comforting scent of fermentation and heat, mixing with the cedar smoke. It is a scent of waiting. It is a scent of demure as sustenance, of a process that cannot be moved. You watch the loaf, and the loaf does nothing but slowly grow in the warmth. You draw your hand back beneath the quilt, the fur luxuriously soft against your wrist. You shift, a slow, incremental turning onto your side, the straw in the mattress rustling with a sound like distant rainfall. The new position offers a new view of the room-esque corner. A spindle hangs there, suspended by a length of plain yarn from a peg in the beam. A mass of carded wool, a cloud of off-white, sits in a simple basket beneath it. The spindle gives a slow, lazy tone, perhaps from a draft too subtle for you to feel. It rotates once, then twice, a slow, weighted pirouette. The wool is waiting. The task of drawing it out, of twisting it into a continuous thread, is a task for another hour, or perhaps not today at all. It is simply there, a promise of softness, of a rhythmic motion of hands, of a thread growing longer with each patient, monotonous pull. You watch the spindle come to a stop. It hangs perfectly still. A gust, stronger than the others, presses against the sanctuary. You hear the snow scouring the stone outside. A dry, sifting sound like a million grains of sand against the wall. The wind finds the edge of the shutter and makes a low, fluttering moan, a note that rises and then falls back into the general roar. In response, the fire draws breath. The flames lean inward, then surge upward with a soft, rushing sound, casting a sudden wave of light that pushes the blue fog further into the corners. The heat reaches your face, a dry, caressing warmth that makes your eyes feel heavy. You pull the fur quilt a little higher. The weight is a comfort. It is an anchor. You close your eyes again. The sounds separate once more in the darkness behind your eyelids. The wind. The hiss of the sow. The deep, occasional pop of the heartwood. The faint, almost musical ring of the cooling iron latch on the hearth. You count them. You do not mean to, but you find yourself matching your breath to the rhythm of the fire-esque crackle. In with a hiss. Out with the sigh of a settling ember. Your hand rests on your own chest, rising and falling with a slow, tidal rhythm. The fur is soft against your chin. The stone at your back is soft and unchanging. The storm continues its work, and the bread continues its slow rise, and the spindle waits in its corner. There is nothing to be done. There is only this. The weight, the warmth, the sound of a world held gently at bay. You are safe and warm. The world is quiet. The blue fog and the orange light merge into a single, soothing darkness, and the quilt's heavy embrace is the only truth you know.